Welcome back to Games with Dad. I'm your host, Dad, and this month I had some time off work, and what better way to spend that time than going on a nice vacation? Oh, that's right, it's 2020, and if I travel, I might be spreading a deadly disease. Cool, I guess I'll just stay home and play some Genesis games instead. But now I have a dilemma. Which games do I play? Which ones are my favorites? And to answer those questions, I'm creating the first ever Games with Dad top 10 list. So let's establish some ground rules. Obviously, number one is there are only 10 games allowed to make the list. But this list wasn't easy for me. My first rough draft had around 30 games listed. And if I did that, this video would be like an hour. Number two, to help keep things manageable as well as keeping the list fresh, I'm only allowing one entry per franchise here. Otherwise, half of this list is going to be Streets of Rage and Sonic the Hedgehog. And while those are great, there are still plenty of other great Genesis titles out there. And lastly, this is just my list. Everyone has their own favorites, so you might not necessarily agree with my choices, and that's fine, and you can always make your own list, and I encourage you to do so. Alright, so enough of the boring stuff, let's get to the games.
Earthworm Jim.
We're kicking off this list with a doozy of a game. Ladies and gentlemen, Earthworm Jim is unabashedly from the 90s, and it's pretty freaking good too. So, meet Jim, an Earthworm that was fortunate enough to have a super suit fall on him and now has to take on Evil Queen. Let me see here. Pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed slug for a butt in order to save the galaxy and Princess... what's her name? You get tons of variety here. You start off in a junkyard, you race your way through an asteroid belt, you conquer planet Heck and its dreadful elevator music, and then you race a bathysphere to the other end of an underwater base, and those are just in the first handful of levels. This game oozes personality, including Jim himself. His movements are smooth yet exaggerated like an old Tex Avery cartoon. The music done by Tommy Tallarico punches way above its weight and actually takes advantages of the Genesis harsh percussive sound chip. In my opinion, it sounds better than the SNES version. That being said, the level design does leave something to be desired, and man, I do not remember this game being this hard. Regardless of the difficulty, you shouldn't sleep on Earthworm Jim. It is a standout game from this era. Question, have you ever wanted a less fan-servicey Fire Emblem on the Sega Genesis? Then I have good news for you. This was the first strategy RPG I ever played. Shining Force has everything you could want from the genre. You've got Elf Archers, Centaur Knights, lightsabers, giant laser cannons? Yeah, this game goes a little off the rails and really just rolls with it, which makes me love it even more. The action does take a while to play out like most other strategy RPGs, and waiting on the opposing forces to make their moves takes forever, but we really didn't get many games like this back in my day. Hell, we still don't. Play it if you want something with charm and don't care how long it takes to finish. You know, at first Konami did not support the Sega Genesis at all when it launched, but when Sonic the Hedgehog became a household name, Konami decided it was time to make a mascot platformer of their own. The first game they released after making that decision was Rocket Knight, and what appears at first glance to be just another cute mascot platformer quickly turns into a game with tons of depth and variety. Our boy Sparkster here has a jetpack, and the levels all take advantage of it in a myriad of ways. The depth and general polish are why you see Rocket Knight on so many other top Genesis games lists, and my list is no different. Also, the music is incredible. Pick this one up if you see it in the wild, you won't regret it. Long before Phantasy Star was an MMO that Sega took over half a decade to localize for us unworthy heathens in the West, Sega was using the name to push the JRPG envelope during the 16-bit era. Sure, there weren't many JRPGs on the Genesis, but that doesn't mean that Phantasy Star 4 isn't one of the best of its time. Exploring issues like ecology, loss, and sacrifice, as well as a deep for its time battle system and unique sci-fi fantasy setting, means that the people that have played this game still think back fondly on it even today. I mean, yeah, it's not as good as Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI on the SNES, but really very few games are. Phantasy Star 4 is a killer game and is worthy of a playthrough as well as its spot on this list. So after Donkey Kong Country hit the scene in 1994, SEGA responded with a pseudo 3D game of its own, and that game was 1995's Vector Man. So imagine Pixar's WALL-E, but the difference is that instead of dutifully cleaning the planet for the lazy humans, the robots decide that they're sick of the humans' BS, and after 2020 I wouldn't blame them, to be honest, and they all decide that they're just gonna murk all the humans once they come back. Oh, and it's up to WALL-E to stop the rest of his robot brethren, and WALL-E has literal guns for hands. The result is a bunch of levels of scrapping the evil robots as well as transforming into stuff like bombs, drills, and trains to get you face to face with the big bad Warhead, the evil mastermind who is evil because... let's check my notes here. Someone accidentally attached a nuke to his head. I love this game's action, but it suffers a bit from what I like to call screen is too small-itis, and honestly, the level design is serviceable, but nothing really stands out. But still, every now and then, this game calls to me, and for a few moments, I turn into that same slack-jawed kindergartner I was back when I first played it. So imagine this. You're like 5 or 6 years old, you love the X-Men, and you play the X-Men game on Genesis, and your favorite heroes can only sparingly use their abilities. You weep. Then out of the darkness comes a brand new X-Men game, and not only does Wolverine always have his claws out all the time, he can double jump and also use them to climb walls. You victoriously chug a Surge Cola. So in X-Men II, you can play as Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Gambit, Beast, Psylocke, and everyone's favorite Boy Scout, Cyclops. You can also unlock Magneto as a playable character. Friggin' Magneto, man! Yeah, again, the level design isn't great, the movement's a little stiff, and screen is too small-itis strikes yet again, but X-Men 2 is a hidden gem, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. I've got another question for you. Do you like running and gunning? Do you keep dying on the first level of Contra Hardcore like I do? Then Gunstar Heroes is the game for you. That's right, a bunch of ex-Konami devs jump ship to form Treasure, and they immediately put out one of the Genesis' finest games, Gunstar Heroes. You jump, shoot, slide, CQC, and dive your way through a menagerie of levels that let you mix and match weapons to defeat hordes of enemies and a ton of mini-bosses. I love me some Gunstar Heroes, and you should too. So if Gunstar Heroes is so good, what beats it out? And in my mind, the first game is Shinobi 3. Although a much slower paced and methodical game, Shinobi 3 has you master multiple techniques like wall jumping, double jumping, as well as mastering how to block and using your various ninja magics. Half the fun of this game is mastering the controls and running through it like a literal unstoppable ninja. It is a tough one, but it is also an absolute masterclass in both sound and game design. Play this one any way you can. It's no secret that I love beat-em-ups, and it's also no secret that the Streets of Rage series is the best beat-em-up series on the Genesis, and for my money, Streets of Rage 2 is the most well-balanced of the three. So, the big bad Mr. X from the first game is somehow back, and he's kidnapped one of the protagonists from the first game, so you choose between one of 4 unique characters who specialize in speed, power, and technique, and kick some serious keister through 8 stages that take you from the veritable ragey streets to a secret fight club underneath a stadium, through a jungle, and to Mr. X's compound. Either alone or with a friend, this is one of the best beat-em-ups ever created. Play it any way you can. So there's no way I do this list without putting a Sonic game at number 1. The real question is, which one do I pick? And although I love Sonic 2, there's no doubt in my mind that the complete Sonic 3 and Knuckles experience is better in almost every single way. The special stages are way less frustrating, the level design is masterful, and some people like the music more than Sonic 2. Everything Sonic 2 did, Sonic 3 did better. It did come at a cost though. In order to get the full Sonic 3 experience, you needed to buy Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And cover your eyes, children, what are they doing? Nowadays, due to copyright issues, you can really only find the full Sonic experience on Steam, and who knows how long that will last, so get it while you still can, folks. And that was my list, everyone. So what are your favorite Sega Genesis games? You'll see a bunch of my honorable mentions up here on the screen. For one reason or another, these ones just didn't get added due to me not growing up with them, or just me just generally not enjoying the style of gameplay. It's just me being me and only liking what I like. So if you enjoyed the video, as always, leave a like and subscribe if you liked what you saw and would like to see more, and I'll see you next time with more Games with Dad.